What's goody, Kryptofred 76 network? It's your boy James, and we are here making a surprise Father's Day gift for the senior member of the Kryptofred 76 network, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
So today, you guys read by the title, we are working on a He-Man sword. He's upstairs, we don't want him to hear.
Yeah.
But here we go. So the first step to making a He-Man sword is buying a He-Man toy, which luckily Kevin has way too many of. Look at this. Not one, not two, but 3 shelves. Actually, we have these guys down here too. So 4 shelves worth of He-Man toys. Why is he 46 and still obsessed with He-Man? The world may never know. We also have our miniature He-Man sword right here, which is going to be our exact 1-to-1 scale replica. The next step to making a He-Man sword is making a hilt. All right, so normally you would want to start with a hacksaw, which is what we did. Unfortunately, Colin screwed it up. So now I have to fix it with the Dremel. Kids, don't try this at home. I'm serious. This is very dangerous. Also, always wear safety goggles. Thankfully, mine have lights on them so I can see what I'm doing.
This is performed by trained professionals. Do not try this at home.
Never. All right, so 1,000,000 pieces of melted plastic to my mouth later, I fixed the hilt. It's still kind of scuffed, but it won't matter that much. Also, we got this PVC cap from when we did the Loki taggers. From the top of this line to the PVC cap is actually 4 inches, and you'll notice that on the toy, the hilt is the same length as the width of the sword. So if we come down here, I'm gonna measure this. We're gonna use 2 sheets of EVA foam, and I'm gonna measure this 4 inches across, and pretty much just kind of freehand the sword. All right, so instead of me being an idiot, I'm actually gonna do the template on some sheets of paper. That way I could fold it in half and get an exact replica for each side. All right, so the way that I started on this pattern was I drew the right half first, then I folded it in half. You could see I didn't draw the line straight the first time. So the second time I drew it right down the middle, and then I just copied it onto the other side, and now it's perfect and it's even, and I gotta draw the rest of the sword. I'll be able to attach it like that, and then you can kind of see it's coming together a little bit. I don't know, looks pretty good to me. So I believe that the actual part of the sword that you like stab the blade of the sword is gonna be 32 inches, if I'm doing my math correctly. I'm not sure how big that would be in scale. Let's see, a foot. Okay, so it'll be like 2.5 feet long plus the hilt, so it'll probably be like 3 feet long, which isn't that small. I mean, that's the size of a yardstick. So I actually forgot about the cap that I put on the bottom, so it is probably going to be like close to 3, if not exactly 3 feet long. My dad, Kevin, is even shorter than me, so it'll probably look pretty proportionate, which I'm happy about. All right, so after you finish your paper stencil here, you want to trace it onto the EVA foam, which Colin did most of. Then, with your box cutter again, kids, please be safe. Cut it out. Oh, and make sure that you do it at a 90-degree angle. You don't want like a beveled edge. Not yet. We can do that with the Dremel later. For right now, you want to make sure you have a nice straight cut that goes all the way down. Alright, so I lost the footage for this part of the video, but I'm pretty sure all I was saying was like, oh, look at the sword, and it looks so cool. And basically all I said was I was going to fix it with the Dremel. I had to add like a disc thing, and then paint it, and it'd be done. Alright, so the next part of the sword is the inner decals. I'll point to it if you can't see it. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the pattern, just draw on it, and then cut it and use it again. I think that's a pretty good idea. It's probably how you guys should do it at home. All right, so I know it looks like a lot is going on here. There's really not that much. All right, I traced a roll of tape for the hilt up here, and then I cut a hole the sides of the PVC pipe, and then I actually used the Dremel. So kids, again, be safe. And I cut slits through the PVC pipe, and I slid the foam through the slits in the PVC pipe, and then we use some of this spray foam glue. It's great stuff, trust me. It says it on the can too, so that's how you know. Spray it in there. It filled up the entire handle, so the handle will be a little bit heavier, and it'll also help the blade adhere to the hilt. So I actually do have also a foam piece that I cut out using the other stencil that I used for the original sword, and then I lined it up. Had to make a few adjustments, but for the most part, I think once I glue it on like that, it'll look real. Look at that, man. That's the freaking Sword of Power. For now, unfortunately, I'm only going to do one side of the sword, and that's because it's just going to take too long, and I don't have contact cement at the moment. So on top of that, like, I unplugged the glue gun. It's just simply going to take way too long to do the other side because I would have to cover it with craft foam, and I already threw away my stencil, so I'd have to make a new stencil and just retrace everything, redo it. You can do it over again, but I just don't think it's necessary. I also beveled all the edges, so you can see I cleaned them up for the most part so that they're not so, like, disgusting anymore, I guess would be the right word. I don't really know. And then I beveled them to make it look like an actual sharp sword. And obviously, He-Man was originally made to be a toy line, turned into a TV show for kids, so it doesn't need to be like a sharp sword. But, you know, you get the idea. All right, guys, I added on the extra little detail there, and the sword looks great until you turn it this way, and it is extremely floppy. Thank God we have a wooden dowel. Now, you can use a yardstick. My problem is I only have one yardstick, and I don't feel like getting another one, and we already have this dowel that we're not using for anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little channel right along here, and then I'm going to drill a hole in the foam here, and I'm going to stick the dowel in, glue it in, probably tape it as well, and then it won't do this. Thank God. All right, we just drilled this hole, which I totally did myself, right, Dad?
Totally
Yep.
did it yourself. Good job.
And then we just stuck the dowel in, and it goes all the way up the channel, and it does a little bit less of this. Still does it, so we're gonna put some Gorilla. If you're doing this, use some contact cement, but we don't have contact cement, so we're gonna use Gorilla Glue. Hopefully, Gorilla Glue takes a really long time to dry, and I'm gonna be out all day. So hopefully tomorrow morning, it'll be dry, and I'll be able to paint it, and then we'll be done. And tomorrow's actually Father's Day, so it'll be ready in time for Father's Day. Also, yes, I did ruin the surprise, but I thought it was worth it for the sake of me not breaking this by doing the hole myself. I also actually just learned this about He-Man. So the sword that I'm doing, you can see if I take this sword out, this is the sword based on whoever drew up the concept art for the toys. But in the TV show, the sword looks a little bit different. So you might see videos on YouTube where they make the other version of the sword. I'll put a picture up right now. I just really thought it would be cool to do this one. And I always thought that the He-Man sword looked like this. I never even realized that they looked different until I started researching videos on how to make a He-Man sword. So, you know, I'm just going to leave mine the way it is. But you guys can do yours however you want and just adapt my ideas into your own sword, and it'll still look cool. All right, guys, so the dowel is all glued in there. You can see there's a little bit of glue coming up, but it doesn't really matter because when you flip it over, bam! Oh my goodness, look at that. The He-Man sword, the Sword of Power, the Power Sword, and the Sword of Eternia, apparently it's also called, in its entirety. I think this thing looks sick, and it'll look great right next to the Captain America shield. Let's go show it to Kevin. What do you want, Dad? I have a surprise for you.
Are you both down there?
Yes. Dad, wait there. I'd like to show you something. Da-da-da-da.
Wow. Nice. Woo!
Look at that.
Hey,
Happy Father's Day, Dad.
I have the power. Shut Molly. Let's turn you into Battle Dog.
Always
knock
ruining
off. Thank you. This is awesome.
All right.
My own power sword.
Excuse me, Sword of Power?
That was a test.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, like, comment, do all the YouTube things you're supposed to do. I had a lot of fun making this. Honestly, if you have all the right materials and you manage your time correctly, it'll probably take you an afternoon. It took me 3 days on and off, but it should not take you that long at all. It's because it took so much time for the glue to dry and all the other stuff that went wrong. But that's going to wrap it up. I'm James from the Kryptofred 76 Network, signing out. Wait, doesn't He-Man always do the punch?